and you're listening to the Misplay Podcast. Oh, yeah.
The Misplay Podcast is possible because of listeners like you. Consider donating at Patreon/The Misplay. Music intro.
Do 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 do.
Perfect. All right. Sorry to deceive you. This is not the Misplay Podcast, but hello and good morning. You are watching Tuesday Night Eternal on Saturday morning. I think they should make that the official name of this. Tuesday Night Eternal on Saturday morning. Welcome back. This is the fourth challenge of the year. The Tuesday Night Eternal series is a community tournament series for Eternal Card Game. If you didn't know that, you probably aren't here at this point. And it is put on by a small army of volunteers. Doing production today is SRFS, and doing TO is Canada. And I am one of your hosts today. I am Parmalee, and this is gozuuu.
Good morning, everyone.
The Tuesday Night Eternal series has a spring season. It's 10 challenges long, and then there's a season invitational. We've had 3 already. Congratulations to Lights Out Ace, gozuuu, and Prakalakan as the first 3 people qualified for the invitational. Why does that matter, Mark? Why does the invitational matter?
Because if you win the invitational, you get a trip to Worlds.
Go in the Worlds. I have said many times that the T&E is a great path to Worlds if you can play. I don't know why, to me, it feels like an easier achievement to maybe do well in one of these and then maybe spike, an invitational that only has, a small field, as opposed to like winning a big event. So if you can play in these events, I think this is a really good path to Worlds.
And from personal experience, they're also really fun to play in. We played in one together as part of a show, and I've played in at least one other in my own bid for Worlds unsuccessfully, but they're really fun. It's a good way to spend a Saturday morning if you were going to be playing games anyway.
We want to thank the sponsors who make this possible. Gibbon, Cassandra, The Misplay, and Telemachus are the sponsors, because not only do you get a ticket to Worlds, each of these individual challenges, Mark, you can win a prize. So first prize today gets $50, second prize gets $30, and third place gets $10. So real quick, you may know me and Mark from the Misplay Podcast. You might also know me. You probably beat me up on ladder while I'm playing Daishono's Ruins deck. Wasting your time, I apologize. Mark's a little bit better at the game, though.
I'm also probably a victim to you on ladder out there, the average you. But I think
You also might know we have the Misplay Meta Report. You can find the Misplay Meta Report, themisplay.com/meta. This is a report that we put out. It essentially lets you see what we see on the ladder. And we have a bunch of community contributors that help us do that. We try to get that out as often as possible at the moment.
And it's also reformatted recently to where it's a standing report, and we're not publishing like a weekly publication or a bi-weekly publication anymore. It's a standing report that takes aggregate over time.
So, Mark, before we get started today, I'm trying to make it feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more like a podcast today. I have a bet.
Oh,
okay?
no.
And it's important we do this right away because I'm thirsty. There is a word that you hear on Eternal coverage more than any other word. And this goes back to LSV days. Okay? This goes back to LSV coverage. As you can see, we're in the Direwolf offices here. What's up, baby? Do you know what that word is?
Bad beats.
Bad beats is a good one. No, I'm thinking spicy. I hear spicy a lot, right? Everything's spicy. You got premium sigils, spicy. You're running 3 of torches, spicy. 5 faction deck, woohoo, spicy. So here's our bet today, Mark. I don't want to hear spicy. Starting now, the first person who says it is buying boba live.
Deal.
Yes.
Are we carrying over the excited also?
Excited? No, that's. I think we're gonna end up saying that. Does that count? Is that?
No.
I said starting now, and then you said it.
Absolutely not.
That's ridiculous. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's take a look at our first match today.
And we're gonna see we're featuring Gozu and MarkusGwyndol today in the round 1 feature match.
How would you describe Gozu's deck? Is it
Aggressive.
not like jalapeno style?
I would ascribe it as Oni-licious.
Okay.
There are a lot of Onis in here. Um, and I think it is definitely going to present like an aggro deck in some games. But if you look at the way that the deck is constructed, you'll see the playset of Oni Quartermasters and the Jishu, the Burning Brush, with the one of Lunar Claw as a target to put on top of your deck. So it has this early aggressive strategy, but is also going to have ways to chain into a more late game strategy. And it's taking advantage of no market, but it has the Oni bargain card press the advantage to protect a key threat against removal or the board wipe. I would guess a common line for this would be Lunar Claw, getting Lunar Claw off Jishu the Burning Brush to try to lock out your opponent's sweeper.
True or false? I know what Forge Mark is.
False.
I have no idea what that card is.
It's a +1/+0 weapon that gives your unit overwhelm, I believe. And is going to be the primary engine for Quartermaster, I bet.
Oh, okay. And so Gozu is playing against Markus.
Yep, MarkusGwyndol. And this is a heavy shadow version of Xenon. And you'll notice that there's a small sacrifice package, and given the name, the sacrifice package of Nahid's Faithful, Devourer, and then probably looking to combo with any of your token makers that are disposable, Twisted Farmer tokens, Dino Nest tokens that you've already used or that are not useful anymore, or to get rid of your opponent's unit that you stole with Huntmaster Vikram before they remove your Huntmaster, because that's a pretty high priority thing to do once you've lost your unit, is getting rid of Huntmaster Vikram.
And so, Mark, it seems there's two different ways you can build the Xenon decks, right? You can have a strong time base or you can have a strong shadow base. This is a strong shadow base, right?
Yeah, and I think that the shadow base here leans more into the sacrifice component, because not only is your opponent going to remove units, but you're going to be sacrificing tokens, and then with Tasbu in play, you get to turn those sacrificed units and tokens into cards.
Now, I am going to point out this is a shadow deck not running Daishiro's Ruin. Do you think that's a mistake?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay, you're probably right.
So let's get down to it. We're checking out opening hands. Looks like a redraw for MarkusGwyndol and probably a redraw for Gozu.
I would think so for Gozu. I think. I mean, you can consider. Can you consider a keep for Markus?
I don't think so, especially with decklist being known. I don't think you can risk missing time and say like missing time and then your opponent going like 1, 2, 3 is a really hard prospect if your first play is Rat King and you're 3 units behind on board already.
You're just like hoping for a time sigil off the top.
Yeah.
Especially knowing you're playing against an aggressive deck. That's going to be.
And MarkusGwyndol got the luck of the draw, so being on the play for the first game seems good. And we don't get to at some point we'll hopefully get a look at MarkusGwyndol's hand, but it looks like we'll be leading on Akko, the Oni something.
There we go. So always bothered when I play a game of Eternal and my opponent has a 1-drop. I always feel like I've just lost.
I think you'll be okay. I do think this is the kind of hand that Xenon is likely to be able to stabilize against. So Gozu is going to be looking for something important off the top, maybe one of the 3 drops or the 2/3 exalted unit that pumps your team.
Do you stay on curve? Do you go Rat King or do you go for removal? Because I'd worry that Gozu's got removal and now we're just swinging in again.
I think you'd send, you send removal here.
Like it.
Because I think you're really hoping that you'll get your 4th power so that you can, with Rat King, make sure that you get a unit before it gets torched.
Yeah. Even though it seems less power efficient.
This is interesting with, if you choose to play Jishu here, do you defer I don't think you get to not Onslaught. So this is probably the Caleb's Persuader that's going to be on top. Now I think you have to run out the Rat King. Because I think if you're MarkusGwyndol, you have to put your opponent on the.
Wouldn't you want a worthy cause in response to the weapon?
You can't because you don't have a units to sacrifice.
Oh, right.
So I think I would have played Rat King this turn. We also need to find a way to get some units in the void to make the worthy causes better.
So he's playing around in a removal, right? So he's assuming.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just. This is definitely the safest line.
And this is the kind of stumble that the Oni deck is going to capitalize on.
So here we go. The Rat King, then banner. And so he comes in.
Yeah,
with
too late
power.
though, because you missed your window for picking off we missed our window for picking off Kazuo until we can remove the what's his name? The big guy, Hyojin.
Now, what's that doing when it's coming in?
It's buffing up the whole team and has Warcry. It's like playing the reverse of Name That Card. You're like, what's this card do?
Where you see the card.
How much card text can you read without seeing the card?
So, I mean, that's what you wanted to see, right? You were excited. I can say excited. You were excited to see Gozuu's deck from the get-go.
Yeah, I think mostly because I think it's the least of the field that we're going to see today. It's the least established of the decks that we're going to see. Like, I know there are people that only play that Oni style deck, but it's interesting to see Gozu, who, admittedly we watch a lot of Gozu's lists really closely. It's interesting to see Gozu stepping into that Oni land.
Did you think that was a hand that Markus could, like, he gets that hand, they get that hand again, can they play it? They have to pitch it back after seeing that, right?
I think as the second hand you keep it. Again, the world where you hit the fourth power and get to Rat King on curve with removing the Kazuo, I think changes that game quite a bit. And if I were looking back, I really would have. You can't, against these aggressive decks, it's tempting to not play something. But if you're not playing something and not doing something, then you've like thrown away the power. And I know because that's what I do all the time. So I think that turn 3 where we needed to really play the Rat King to have a chance at that game.
Now someone's pulling the Watch Wolf move where they take a 5-minute break in between games just to stand up and stretch.
I mean, I could use a stretch right now. This wobble stool is not really not my preferred seating.
Don't come into my house and tell me my wobble stool isn't comfortable enough for you. I mean,
it's actually pretty comfortable. But
it's a fancy wobble stool.
I'm not a wobble stool kind of guy.
Wow.
Oh, here I go, messing up your camera.
This is a deck I can get behind.
Why don't you take us through it?
This is the Bergen's Huru control deck, and to call this anybody other than the Bergen's deck would be a crime. Although I have seen some different versions. I know Mal put out a version a few months ago. This is leaning heavy on Helio. So this is a heavy primal version of this deck. And I know like the Mal has a popular version on the ladder right now that has a bit more justice. And so I love playing Huru control. So I've been playing 2 decks on Throne Ladder right now. Daishiro's Ruin because I hate myself, and Huru Control because I want to win games. And Helio is still great. Helio is just amazing in a deck like that. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see Bergen's deck later.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. But here we are for game 2. This looks good. And you have the torch. I don't think you can do better than this. And man, missing time again. Not good for... Oh, no,
he's got a Signia.
A little too small. I'm wearing my not reading glasses
today. But are you gonna have to play out your 2/2 just to do things? I know you want it to be bigger.
No, you play it. Kind of for the same reason that you had to play that I wish we played Rat King earlier in that first game.
So this is why I can't play an aggro deck because I don't know if I should attack here or torch here.
I think you'll see an attack.
We're going torch. I suppose having another 1-drop kind of makes that your decision.
I think if you're looking really closely and you know that your opponent's 2-drops are send an agent and Dino Nest, you press the early advantage because you know you're not favored to win the late game. But Vara, and we see that in MarkusGwyndol's hand, Vara is going to be such a problem. And this is another case where I would play the Rat King on 3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vinegrafter. I think on paper this matchup is actually a really tough matchup for gozuuu, and I think we saw the best case scenario in game 1 from the Oni side. This is going to be a lot more best case scenario from the Xenon side, I think. No fear.
I mean, you have to if you're playing this.
True. So this should eat the 3/1. You get your damage in. And then you've got to come up with a good answer to Vara. And I think looking back at the list, we don't really have an answer to Vara. So it'll be interesting to see how gozuuu navigates. I assume you're going to have to sacrifice a unit.
I mean, I think that's the way, right? You just sack a unit.
Did we get our Exalted trigger yet? That was the second attack or the first? So our 2/3 doesn't have Exalted yet. So that's not really a choice. Wow. It's a little on the greedy side. I guess you want to pick off your Oni. I think I would have slammed Vara.
Yeah, because I mean, if they did, there are open deck lists, so you can take a look to see if you're 7/8's pretty big. That got some of the Warcry triggers.
Some, if not all.
Yeah.
I think you're throwing away your Rat King here.
Oh, absolutely.
Still kind of scary. This is a scary position to be in. Maybe I was wrong and the Xenon list comes out too slow. You might be in a situation where you have to Vinegrafter and Devour looking for removal.
You're on 4, though.
Yeah, you Vinegrafter for 2, and then Devour the Rat token for 2, and you block. Because now we have to chump with you have to chump with your Severn, where you could have had 2 blocks with Vinegrafter.
Okay, on the 8/8.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the.
I'm trying to think if there's a draw we have. I don't know that there is one. Banish, I think, is the best draw. Banish even in the list. That'd be a good misplay. Thinking I have Banish and not having it.
Even now with Exalted on it, though.
Oh yeah, no Banish. I was wrong. It's in the market.
Yeah. Just doesn't see a way past that.
Yeah. Tough openings for to stabilize against from the second game.
Tough anytime you got to sit down and your opening opponent's gozuuu.
Yeah, that too.
Like, come on. Already won a TNE.
Oh yeah. That's just running up the score. It's not fair.
I'm pretty sure I've never beaten gozuuu.
I'd be willing to bet there's a pretty good chance I haven't either.
All right, so we're gonna look for another game. See who's going. If you want to follow along, and you can be a little bit ahead of coverage, in some cases, you can go to battlefy.com/Tuesday-night-eternal. And you can follow the leaderboard here. So here we are watching Apple Chips and the Bergen.
I don't think I would want to be either of these players playing this matchup.
It's not fun.
Sounds terrible for everybody.
There's a lot of...
Too many decisions.
Yes.
And I think we're in for a long one, because there's going to be a lot of chump blockers. And you probably can't just hold this display of knowledge hoping it's going to answer a Queen of Glass. But it'll probably take a minute to find the Queen of Glass. Or to find the Speaking Circle to make the Queen of Glass. What do you think of no Stormhawk plating and having Speaking Circle since you're our Huru guy today?
no Stormhalt plating.
Mm-hmm.
That-
Speaking circle as your win condition.
I mean, you can grind out enough people that it. I mean, this goes back to how Lights Out Ace won Worlds, right? Were there win conditions in the deck? It was your opponent conceding. That was one. And then I think it was like something like one weapon and something else. Like, I mean, for ladder, they get you there. In a tournament, you got to play out all the games. You got to make sure you can get there.
Mm.
And now I'm curious if the Bergen is they got the giant that shuts down the spells in the market.
We can check. We have the technology.
Because in a lot of those games, that's what you're looking to have in those games that are just gonna go on.
I clicked the wrong one.
Marcus pulling up the deck list behind the scenes here.
I'm not a good clicking person though. No,
you're not running
no,
it.
what's his name?
Swindler though.
What's Swindler for?
Imagine to get trapped.
Oh,
Is there a second
yeah.
target?
Oh, it can also, if you're at low life, it can grab
Get
Stormhalt life.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool tech.
That's cute. Now, I'll be honest with you,
Oh,
Mark.
that's right.
I have absolutely no idea how this Tota deck has ever worked. I just like watch my opponent do a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, okay. And eventually I just give up. Like, okay, they're.
I assume eventually you die to Shrine to carve it. I would guess. Let's see. Why guess when you can just stare at your opponent's list or the featured games list? Yep, four main deck Shrine to carve
main
it. This deck is cool. I don't understand all the intricacies of it, but you discard units, or you discard cards, make Totas, and then sacrifice Totas to get power, and it's a free sacrifice thing for Shrine to carve it. And you have Carver to keep churning through your deck to find what you're looking for, most of the deck cantrips. And you have Dinosaur Nest as some extra tokens. So eventually you go super wide and kill your opponent that way with Shrine. That's a really probably a poor summary of how intricate and complicated the lines are in 4-color Totas, but that's
why
the basic gist.
That's why our podcast is called The Misplay.
Oh no. Goodbye. Interesting that it's the Tome of Horrors that goes away here.
Are you worried about being decked?
Maybe.
They're not. If your 0-1 Totas aren't hitting you, right?
Oh, that's why, because we
So,
already saw Shrine get
Shrine's
picked off.
been. Aha.
So another likely way for this game to end beyond Speaking Circle is the Burgun going to the market and getting Savage Incursion and murdering you with dinosaurs in the air, or dragons in the air.
Do they have a way to remove?
Is there relic removal in Apple Chips' deck?
Not in the main.
Bizarre Stampede is an alternate win condition.
Yeah.
That's probably the line that Apple Chips has to go for.
Got to be what they're trying to find.
And
So-
I think, and that makes the putting away the tome make more sense now that Shrine to Carve It is locked out. There's a cap on how much damage the Bizarre Stampede can do. It'll probably still be lethal, but if you're targeting different named relics, that's a way to buy more time before the Bizarre is lethal. Probably not a lot of time because there are a lot of relics in play right now.
Is that the count down there? 7.
Yeah.
So Bergen is effectively at 27.
Oh, hello, rats.
Need 4 units
Here
to
comes
attack.
your
Is
Bizarre
that right?
Stampede. There are 8 relics, so you get all your units get +8/+8. So Burger needs a board wipe.
Yep. I don't know what the last spell on.
You probably just discard the trap here. Yeah, it looks like Apple Chips has found oh, Crest of Order is not good for... Oh, that's some blocking.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3.
Only need 4 to get through.
You hit 1 with a hammer. That's it for this game. Well navigated by Apple Chips.
I mean, in
Oh,
fairness,
it's only 4/4 because there are a lot of duplicates. But is this lethal?
I thought they were getting plus for every relic.
It's every unique relic. So there are
it's
like multiple.
duplicates. So there's some math here I would have missed, but Apple Chips,
Still enough.
very good at math.
When your option is win the game or don't win the game, or attempt to win the game or don't, often you should choose the try to win the game version.
I mean, that's the issue I run into when I'm playing at times. I would not have done that math, and I would just play Czar. Like, ooh, maybe it's lethal, and I just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, if that's your game plan, like your Shrine to Carve Out plan is dead. You don't have Dino Nests. You don't have Forever against the Hero control deck. It does have a way to kill you.
So we don't know if that was game 3 or not. So on the scoreboard, it was the first game, but that might not have been the case.
We're going to take a quick look and see if there are any other games outstanding. And then if there are, we'll jump in and watch another one. And if not, we will move on with our day.
And as a reminder, you can go to battlefy.com/Tuesday-night-eternal. Follow along. You can also find all of Tuesday Night Eternal links on eternaltournaments.com. So this is Roshi and Spifferific.
I mean, this Roshi deck is my jam, but it looks to be not a great spot for Roshi here. Depends on how many Wraths we're about to see. Oh no, are we just... Spifferific's dead, right? Not dead. Not quite dead. That's like the land that Cambrai Relics wants to live in anyway. Gonna make the Equalize look really good. Equalize plus Groudon Stranger looks good here.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't like where Spifferific's at. That shrine in the play.
It changes a lot based on how many carvers have been removed and what other sacrifice options there are. That's annoying. Get him, Roshi. Uh-oh. So you're in a spot where you have to attack with Bergen to see if you can find something better, right? And you as our Cambrai Relics expert, since you have good results with it.
You're dead if you don't.
Right, but I mean, the real question is, what do you think of this new version of the hybrid relic mid-range style with more units? Wow, what a draw!
What a find! Well, you can do things like that. Oh, what did I miss?
No, it plays
They
one
have the
and then
power.
you play one.
We're just better at math. They're just better at math.
Spifferific is also another player Jason and I never beat on ladder.
Yeah. Just better at math. It took some changes. So you saw something like Enter the Monastery there, which got nerfed from 3 to 4, and a lot of people thought, I'm not going to play it because you can play something like a New Tomorrow, which does effectively the same thing but gives you high roll of getting to do it again.
And you might have to spin your another harsh roll here and smash the Kato token.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I guess you don't have to because you just reset your opponent's void. I like this.
With the attack.
Yeah. This is also better because now you have full armor as opposed to the way that I would do it. You would have been 1 armor down. That's a good draw. Not great if your opponent like explodes a board going wide, but...
So you've played Roshi's side. What are you looking for in Roshi's hand? We can't see what Roshi's drawing.
Well,
that's
Zhou is a new addition. But I mean, what I'm looking for is I'm looking to build a hand and rebuild my void now that I've been Grodov Strangered, and looking to get some combination of Carver Kato.
Ooh. Didn't you have to?
You have the Defiance up.
Yeah, but now I'm going to get all the token. I'm going to get all the
treasures.
I guess you couldn't kill it. It was 5 power, right? So
Yeah.
you didn't really have an option. In my head, I was thinking you could hit it, but
and you don't like
6.
If we're in building time mode or buying time mode for Spifferific, like if your opponent takes the whole turn to play their treasure troves, like yeah, you're way behind on cards, but that's what Equalize is for, right?
I mean, you got to draw Equalize immediately.
Sure. Not if you. Well, I mean, you get like 2.
I gotta imagine Roshi's got, right?
Probably.
No, you're right. Most of the hand is treasure troves at the moment. We can't see them.
It wouldn't take a lot. Oh, that's bad. Shade is actually a really good draw when you're recycling units. You got to have a little more to follow it up.
Your contract is due.
Still not lethal though. Oh, it is lethal.
That's why. Read your shirt.
Can't
Mark.
count.
Read your shirt, Mark.
So just do the math.
Just do the plus. A lot of people don't know that's actually a photo of Mark took while he was playing Eternal.
I don't believe that's true.
That's right.
Where's the button? Which one is it?
All right. All right. That was that game 3?
That was game 3. So congratulations to Roshi for taking that one down. And we are going to take a quick break.
And we'll be back with round 2 of the Tuesday Night Eternal Throne Challenge number 4.